Welcome to the Spunky Spirit Podcast. I'm your host, psychic medium Carrie Muggs. This is where we learn all things spirit, everything from spiritual gifts, awakenings, ghosts, aliens, and starseeds. Nothing is untouchable, but always fun and spunky. I am honored to be on this spiritual journey with you, so make sure you hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Spunky Spirit. I am psychic medium Carrie Muggs, and this week we are going to talk about spirit portals in general, because here's the thing. I have always been fascinated with portals, so like any kind of portal. So I'm going to kind of tell you what a portal is, and then I'll tell you when I started being fascinated with them. So a portal is an opening to another dimension or another world. And it's a doorway or a gateway. They can also be called stargates. The whole thing is a portal will allow other things or beings or anything from another dimension come in and out of that dimension or come in and out of Earth. So we're going to talk about different places on Earth that there have been portals, or people think that they're portals. But I have always been fascinated with portals since the first time when I read or watched The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And the kids were in the castle or in the house playing. They stayed with their uncle, and they opened the wardrobe to hide, and they went through the wardrobe and had a huge experience through a whole other realm or a whole new dimension. So the portal actually worked for them to go somewhere else. And portals have been throughout the Bible too. There's different spots in the Bible where I can't remember. One of them fell asleep and woke up. And a lot of times when they say the gates of heaven opened, a lot of people think that that's portals. Those are portals, and angels come through. And that brings up the question, like portals. And I'll tell you why I started to get interested in this. So I watched Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe, and I had a fascination with that then. And then Stargate. I watched Stargate, just when I was having kids, and I loved Stargate. I loved it more than like Star Trek or Star Wars. I love anything sci-fi or future stuff. And the Stargate ones, I loved that because it was a portal or they were round, which again, circle was a circle, and they were doorways or gateways to different realms. And the two things that when I was doing this research, there's said to have been two gateways or two stargates brought to Earth, and one was by in Egypt by Ra, and then another one was by God or the heavens. So I think this is where they got all that Bible stuff for the gateways. And so in Stargate, they're round. Now, portals in Stargate, there has to be, the portals have to be on both places, which makes sense. The scary thing is if you go through the portal and then it disappears. Because some portals or wormholes, or I guess it could be considered a wormhole too, can shut and never open again. So we'll kind of talk about that a little bit too. So the reason why I decided to talk about the portals on the podcast is because first off, I just want to say you believe what you believe, and and believe what you want to believe. It's your life, and I'm just here to present the thought or the imagination, and just remember that everybody be kind to all the people who believe all the different things, right? If we were all the same, it would be boring. So I started watching Skinwalker Ranch. Now, I'm going to tell you, to be honest, I had heard it was really good, but I didn't really look into it, and I didn't know it was about portals. I thought it was about skinwalkers. And my husband went on a mission in New Mexico, New Mexico. Yes. And I am going to butcher the name because I make fun of him. I don't make fun of him. It's Nas Pas something. And it was a Navajo kind of, place that he went, and I don't want to like ruin that either. I don't want to disrespect that in any way, but he has, it's so funny because I'm the psychic medium, but my husband has seen Bigfoot and a skinwalker. And they were told and maybe we'll do a whole episode on skinwalkers later, but they were told by, the mission president to be careful of the skinwalkers. Now, a skinwalker is a wolf. It's a shapeshifter. They can turn into humans and mostly have a wolf type appearance and things like that. So, and he was kind of scared of it. Like, it was kind of terrifying. He kind of had, this belief around it. And so we never really watched it. But then we started to watch it. And if you know me, I'm a spiritism. So spiritualism is when you believe in communicating with the deceased, which is what I do. But spiritism is when you kind of combine science and spirit together. And so I'm kind of both of those, and I love anything that's scientifically based. So Skinwalker Ranch is about a portal. It's about this ranch that has weird phenomenon, weird anomalies, weird things happening all the time. It's got a great big mesa thing, like triangular thing, which reminds me of the pyramids in Chichen Itza. And they have so many different things that happen. They've seen UFOs there. They've seen all different kinds alienated. There's been cow mutilations, things like that. But not only that, this is what got me. I love the science behind it. I love all the things that I love. It's fascinating to me. But they also have a place on the ranch called Homestead 2 that's kind of haunted. So it's kind of got the spiritual realm of it, the spiritual part of it. And I'm thinking, okay, so I kind of have always thought the alien and spiritual was kind of separate. And then it kind of got me thinking, what if it's not? Because anything that is not of this earth that comes here, angels, past loved ones, our, source, are considered alien because they're not of this earth, right? Like, I know that's kind of far-fetched, but I'm just like, it's just that the alien stuff and all of this, the EMF readings that they were having, the energy readings that they were having, the radiation readings they were having, the temperature controls, like it would get hot or cold. All of it was also all of that is also same thing with spiritual portals or spiritual things that happen when there's hauntings or things like that. Kind of the same things happen. So I'm like, I was wondering if they were different. And also too, they brought on a Jewish rabbi. Now, they got more anomalies and more paranormal activity when they brought on the Jewish rabbi than they did almost doing anything else. The only other thing that it was so interesting to me, because when they brought the Jewish rabbi and the rabbi did a ceremony, the Homestead 2 just like totally changed. The temperature, everything completely changed. Now, when they try and mess with the portal on Skinwalker Ranch, they see UFO anomalies, and they do think that in this portal, they think that something is above Skinwalker Ranch and below. So, and I don't want to make this all about Skinwalker Ranch but I'm just telling you why I got excited and why I decided to talk about it, because I really firmly believe that it's somehow all connected. It's not different. Like my husband, in fact, I have kind of firmly believed my husband has seen Bigfoot too. And I firmly kind of believe that they kind of disappear in portals. I believe that they maybe create portals, or because honestly, why haven't we found one ever, ever, ever? So anyways, this is just kind of my thing. I just love it. And so a portal is any space that is a space or circular. It doesn't have to be circular, but that any person or object can travel through time or dimensions. Now, a vortex is different. I have gone to places and I don't know if I have felt a vortex there or if I have felt a portal there. Probably a vortex. A vortex is different. A vortex is a spiral, and it's a pull of energy. It's sometimes at different places and different things. It creates forces. So I kind of feel like energy residue, like the wife of the president that I talk about all the time, that someone sees her hanging laundry all the time in the back of the White House. I feel like that is maybe a vortex, an energy vortex. And I don't know, the definition is written down and looks good on paper, but honestly, I couldn't tell you. A vortex, how the feeling is different. So places that I've been that are sacred to me, that I feel an energy difference, I'm not sure if it was a vortex I was feeling or a portal. So I'm going to tell you the different places I have been and felt this difference. And then I'm going to tell you places that other people have think that there's a portal or think that that might be some sort of vortex. Now, what I want to explain before we kind of go into this, and this is that fine line between spiritual stuff and alien stuff, but portals are not hauntings. So if there's an object in the house, or if there's something, um, it's not a portal. It's something that the energy residue has been left. So if there's like a chair in the house that is belonged to a great 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 grandma, or dolls, or objects that have, or even houses that are haunted, these aren't necessarily portals. They can be, but a lot of times they're not. They're just extra. They're just spirits that are benevolent spirits that are just kind of playing with people or messing with people or things like that. So that's a haunting is not really a portal, but portals can be used. I know that there's been portals in people's houses where spirits can come and go and things like that. And at the end, I'll kind of show you if you think you have a portal. I will show you, I'll talk about how to clear portals. You can remove portals. I didn't know you could just clear them. So, and you have to remember too, just like people and just like the astral realm, there's good and bad. So I'm sure that the portals are created, and either I'm sure good portals and bad portals, or portals in general, because they're just a means of transportation, right? So, and anything good or higher frequency can enter it, and bad or lower frequency can enter it. So what I mean too, like Ouija boards are not portals. They are just a way of spirit communicating with us, and it's not a way of spirit to come in and out of this realm. So anyway, some of the places that I have been that I feel like there's a difference is Island Park. You've heard me talk about Island Park many, many times. What I think is interesting is when we talk about different things, I'm going to actually talk about this first because it'll explain why some of these places are kind of portals. So some of the different things that can be have been used as portals or are portals are source water. Lots of places that have source water, and what I mean by source water is natural water. It's not man-made. It's not like ditches or canals. It's like, so especially where rivers, mostly rivers, and it's not salt water. It's so crazy because I know some people get such great feelings around salt water, but I do feel like the oceans can be some sort of portals. Not only do we have UFO things above us, we do have things, I feel like my daughters have brought me into a whole new realm of ocean things that that exist too. So water, source water, mirrors, which I find very interesting. This is why my husband, I think, is terrified of mirrors, because, and I love the symbolism of this, because mirrors are portals into ourselves. And I teach that the way to become more intuitive is to heal inside yourself. The more you heal yourself, the more power or intuitive you'll receive. So mirrors are also portals, windows, corners. To me, this wasn't listed, but I have seen spirits come in and out of corners, and I think it's just sometimes the condensed space. So stairwells and hallways and corners, and can turn into where spirits enter and leave. And I don't know if that's considered a portal. Now, hospitals can be portals because there's so many people passing to the other side that this can be considered a portal. So, corners, hallways, symbols. This one was interesting to me because I do know that there's a lot of power in symbols. You can see different symbols and how I know sacred geometry, huge symbol thing. All religions have some sort of symbols that have been carried from generations and generations. And a lot of the symbols we see today that we think are bad didn't begin that way. They got changed or manipulated. And also, I feel like this kind of goes with crop circles. The symbols that come with crop circles, I feel like this has a big, huge thing too. And ley lines. There are actually people that think that the ley lines that go throughout the earth are considered portals. Now, it's kind of interesting because as I was watching this, or as I was researching this, when we talked about the water being a portal, or the portals being by water a lot, someone had mentioned that Masonic temples, a lot of Masonic temples are built on water. A lot of religious buildings are built by water. Now, what Things that are not portals are what we talked about, hauntings. And people are not portals, and things are not portals. Now, when mediums channel or spirits talk through them, that's called channeling. That's not portals. Now, there can be like through some spirits. So there was an incident when I was listening to a podcast. Chris Fleming he's a paranormal medium. He does paranormal work. And he was talking to one of the children that was brought up in the home of the house that The Conjuring was made after. Now, I don't usually watch scary shows just because I don't like the feeling. I don't have the control over that. But The Conjuring, Hollywood makes it so much scarier than it is. But it was about a house that I don't know if it was sitting on a portal or if it was sitting on an energy, like a vortex of some sort. They had kind of discussed that maybe it was sitting on some sort of energy frequency, an energy vortex, where past, present, future kind of combined. And they would have weird experiences there. And so not knowing and not understanding, they had a seance, and a medium came in and had a seance, and they think that she accidentally summoned some sort of demonic entity or some sort of benevolent energy. So, but it doesn't necessarily mean that house is a portal. Now, can it become a portal? Probably, because I don't believe that portals are everywhere, but I do believe they can be anywhere. And can they open and shut or stay open for a long time, depending on the portal? Some portals can stay open forever, and some portals can shut down and be closed, like maybe Stonehenge. Stonehenge is maybe considered a portal, and is that portal still open or has it closed? And people don't, it just depends on the energy frequency, and that's what, they get those EMF readers out there, and it has a different energy sometimes. So I thought that was so interesting. And before we kind of go into some of the places that I feel like there's portals, let's just say straight out that the U.S. government during the COVID thing has said that there are UFOs. There are such thing, and we have seen them. In fact, it's interesting because some of the footage that they released about UFOs, the cigar or the Tic Tac that they released, some of those exact kind of images are seen at on Skinwalker Ranch. So, yeah, and yeah, I think that's kind of cool. So before we go into the different places that have that are considered portals and kind of things that have happened up then, we're going to take a little bit of a break. Okay, so things that I have coming up. I have an Awaken Your Senses course. Now, this course is an 8-week course, and it's on my website at carrymuggs.com under courses. And this is awesome. It takes 8 weeks because I have purposely put it out and separated it out for 8 weeks because spiritual awakenings take a lot of time. So each week you'll get a new theme. And there's a theme about chakras because you have to know how the chakras work and the third eye works. There's a protection week. There's also a week all about the clairs. There's a week about symbols. There's a week about your guides. Each week has a different theme, and it tells you, and there's worksheets and there's meditations that go with each week, so you can focus in onto your spiritual growth and know how that works. So if you're interested in spiritual awakening, please go to my website and enter this course. Also, if you want to know things that are coming up, then please go to my website and get on my newsletter. I'm going to start using this monthly. Please know it's not going to be used for any kind of spam or anything like that. Just monthly. I'm going to let you know what's coming up because people are always asking me what's next? When do you have this class? When do you have this? And so also I'm going to start doing a little bit of paranormal activity just because I'm going to go to some ghost hunts, see what it's like, because my job as a medium is to connect with the other side, and I really believe that I have come far enough in my spiritual growth that I am completely and protected by spirit. So just know, though, if I ever go to any of these things and ever feel anything at most demonic, I will extremely leave. But I'm interested in the ghost stuff because I want to help them I just want to know. I'm a big science person and I want to know the things. So also, if you guys know me, you know I am an avid book reader. I read, and sometimes I don't have time. All of my stuff, I am constantly, when I go on my runs, I listen to books. So I am a huge fan of Audible, and I love it. I listen to it while I'm driving down the street. I listen to it while I'm running. I listen to it while I'm getting ready. So there is an Audible link down at the bottom of this podcast if you want to try 30 days for free. Or you can go to www.audibletrial.com/spunky and it will give you your first 30 days free. But honestly, you guys, it is awesome. If you do not like to read and you just like to listen to books, you can pick up your books there. You can get different podcasts there. And every month you get a new credit, so you get a new free book. And I constantly am this month I'm actually reading about Gabby Bernstein's The Motivation one. And it's awesome. I've also read lots of books about spirit portals on this Audible. So anyways, if you are a fan or want to know more information, please go to the link that I have listed below in the show notes. Okay, so the different places, now we're going to talk about the different places that I have been to that I feel are a vortex or a portal, and lots of places that other people think is a vortex or portal. And then if you feel like, now most of these portals that I'm going to talk about in different places of the earth are mostly alien, but there can be some spiritual ones too. I had a huge experience. I just felt like that the frequency changes in some of these. Now, portals, you just have to remember everything has energy. So let's say our body has energy, and I would consider the chakras a portal. The chakras, we have different energy sources in our body, and they help. So all of our chakras are kind of aligned, and they work, and they help. Also, too, the earth would have these different chakras or these different portals, and our houses would have these different portals, right? Or different lands or different things like that. So if you think you have a portal in your house, or you think that there's some spirits coming and going in your house, you can leave it and see if there's any anomalies or any paranormal activity, or if you think that it's freaky or it's causing some issues, then you can always close it or you could clear it, and we'll talk about that at the end. But the portals that I'm going to talk about are earth portals or worldly portals. Obviously, the ones I'm going to talk about first are the ones I've had experience at, and then I'm going to talk about ones that are just listed. So the ones I've had experience at, Island Park. I believe there is a completely different frequency there. Now, it could be a vortex, but I really feel like it's some sort of a portal because of the woodsy area, because of the river. Now, have I ever experienced any type of portal? No, but I just know that the feeling is different. Now, is it different because Idaho is the gem state and there's lots of gems? Or is it because Yellowstone is on the caldera and Island Park also has a caldera? And so that's an energy portal. Those volcanic things are energy portals. I don't know. Totally could be. That's the thing. I don't know. I just know that when I'm there, I have a completely different energy. There's a more calming, a more connected spirit for me. Now, when I went to Sedona, that wasn't always true. I didn't feel this huge, and Sedona is listed in one of the articles that I read as having a huge portal. And I just kind of felt the touristy part of Sedona. I didn't really feel, now what I did feel is there was a church that overlooked some scenery, and I did feel some of that. What my experience my experience was in Sedona is that whatever you're feeling or whatever you feel while you're in Sedona, it amplifies that. So if you go to Sedona with the intent of being more spiritually connected, it is going to amplify that. If you go to Sedona feeling depressed, it's going to amplify that. So that is my experience with Sedona. It's just kind of the amplifications. But there are people who believe that Isis, the goddess, she's a Egyptian goddess, has a building or a realm or a thing in the above the mesas there, which is also cool because mesas are also in Skinwalker Ranch. So Sedona's vortexes and doorway of the gods is what they call it, and it was once known by the Native American tribes as Nawanda, And at one time, it was the most sacred city to them. And I think that this is the energy that it still carries. And it said that the red rocks of the deserts that surround the small town can create vortexes with the capability of transporting people to other realm and dimensions. So they just use the word vortexes, but in actuality, if it can transport people then to other realms and dimensions, then it's a portal, right? And the Native Americans believed that these rocks were spiritually charged or had these energy. While sounds emanated from them and have been reported in the mountains of Arizona, it claims to be the doorway to the gods. Now, I want to also talk a little bit about sound. You know, I am a big, huge Tibetan bull thing, and I do believe in sound, and there must be something to it because a lot of the pyramids that were built have sound techniques. You can clap at one part of the pyramid and it's heard throughout the whole city, or it's heard throughout around the pyramid. And that was interesting too, because when they did have an expert come to this happens at Chichen Itza. I clapped and you could hear it. They had it. And also too, when they had a specialist come to the mesa at Skinwalker Ranch, he noticed that the vortex was that if you clapped, you could hear the echo. So that, I thought that was really cool. Now, one of the incidences at Sedona were there was a tribesman that stated he had seen a strange incident at the alleged doorway while out on the desert. There was a sudden rainstorm that hit and turned the skies gray with clouds. As he turned to leave, he caught a glimpse of an archway and saw the skies through the arch were blue. He walked closer to it, and seeing the archway image of the mountain range was the same. The only difference was the sky. So the skies he was in his world were gray, but when he looked through the arch, it was blue skies. And then he became scared and left because he saw that. Now that brings me to Druid Arch. I've been to Druid Arch, and it has, now I have looked and searched for this, but the person who took me to Druid Arch said that there is history, or it is said that the aliens came in and created the arch as sort of a gateway. So I cannot find that anywhere. I've looked and looked and looked, but I do know when I was on Druid Arch, there was a different feeling, like an immense, powerful energy feeling, like almost overwhelming. It's been one of my favorite experiences, one of my favorite spiritual experiences when I was at Druid Arch. It is beautiful. The hike there is difficult, but it was so invigorating. It was just, I think, and that's a lot of where I started I honestly believe I started a lot of my healing. A lot of just something shifted inside me, and I started this healing thing. So Druid Arch was one of them. And let's see, the ones I've been to: Island Park, Druid Arch, Sedona. I think there was one more, but I can't remember. So we're going to talk about the other ones. Oh, Chichen Itza. Ugh, that was crazy. Now, I did not feel that kind of energy at Chichen Itza. The energy I felt at Chichen Itza was not great. In fact, the whole time I was there, I had to tap. I don't know if it was because this is when I was first coming back into my gifts, or I was really worried about what people thought of me. I didn't do a lot of inner healing, and so it could have just been me. I amplified whatever, Chichen Itza amplified whatever I was feeling. But I do know that Chichen Itza had a lot of human sacrifice, and it is believed to be some sort of portal too. It was a spiritual portal, a spiritual religious place, but I do know they sacrificed a lot of people there. And it's also got rivers underneath it. It's got some rivers underneath it. So I just think it's amazing to me how, same below as above as below. I think that these portals kind of maybe use the ground to ground them, and then they have this thing up in the sky. That's kind of what I've been watching on the Skinwalker Ranch, and everything else too. It's kind of the same. These mesas or these pyramids, or it's like they have something above them, or these arches like Druid Arch, and then they also have this grounding thing below them too. And that's what Skinwalker Ranch is trying to figure out. They have stuff above them going on, and they have stuff below them going on. So I thought that was super interesting. And because of that, it could have created a portal that spirits can come through. I don't know. It's just so fascinating to me, and I want to figure it out. So the other places that I have not been to that are considered portals are Skinwalker Ranch. We talked about that. Stonehenge. A lot of people, and I love that it's in a circle. It's so old. There, people had some major experiences there. So Stonehenge would be one of the circles that 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 would be a portal. I also did not mention about Druid Arch. It's a mesa sandstone, and the precipitation of that sandstone or the arch will run off into the Colorado, north of the Colorado River, which again we have a river. So water is a huge source for these portals. Now I did say not salt water, but I think that the sea and the oceans have a whole life of their own. I think there's so much underneath there that we don't know or haven't discovered. And another portal that people think is the Bermuda Triangle. This is a large space or abyss that stretches between San Juan, Puerto Rico, the Bermuda Island, and Miami in Florida. It's like a big triangle, which again, triangle. Skinwalker Ranch has a triangle on their place. Pyramids are triangles. There's a lot of power in circles and triangles. Circles for ceremonies, triangles for energy. And it's crazy. Bermuda Triangle is deemed to be a mysterious place where huge military ships and planes have been lost, and the government will not say anything about it. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Now, Egypt, of course, Egypt is a huge place where there's going to be lots of stuff going on, and the pyramids and all of that stuff. You could watch so many Gaia stuff about the pyramids and the triangles and how they're perfectly designed and how they're supposed to be spaceships and even with the moon ceremonies, like they somehow are supposed to line up with one of the pyramids too. I think I talked about that last time. So that's way cool. And so I'm going to other places too. There's a Gate of the Gods in also Peru. Now it's called Marca, Peru, I guess. And there's been it was discovered by Luis del Lago. And while he was trying to learn the layout of the area for a job he had taken on a tour guide, he said the Gate of the Gods is said by native tribes to have once acted as a gateway or a portal to the land of the gods. So he claims that he had dreams of the doorway for years and that he accidentally found it in his dream. And then he stated that the pathway leading to the doorway was made of pink marble, and that he also witnessed a smaller door that has an open with a brilliant blue light coming from it, and it looked like a shimmering tunnel. Also, too, that reminds me of Jacob's Ladder. When they write about that in the Bible, that could have totally been a portal because he's watching angels come and go on this ladder. Totally. Egypt, Abu Gharaib. So Egypt there's called in Egypt called the place of the gods, and it's also a legend to have legends of the communication between their world and ours, and mirrors are legends of the Cherokee Native Americans. The Cherokee tell of how thought beings who were formless would travel in the wave of sound from their home in the Pleiades star system to Earth through this place in Egypt. So I thought that was kind of good. There's an ancient stone arrangement in Lake Michigan, kind of like Stonehenge, that while searching for the remains of a shipwreck, scientists discovered a stone structure 12 meters or 40 feet below the surface of Lake Michigan. It was thought to be 9,000 years old, and the structure has been dubbed Michigan's equivalent Stonehenge. The discovery was made by professor of underwater archaeology at Northwest Michigan University, Mark Hawley, and his colleague Brian Abbott. One of the particular interests was carving on the stones, which that's also on Skinwalker Ranch too, and of the Macedon, which is believed to have become extinct for over 10,000 years, a possible indication of the structure's age. The location of the site has been kept secret, at least for now, which is crazy. Everything's secret. And this is a part of an agreement with the local Native American tribes who wish to keep the amount of visitors to a minimum. So I thought it was kind of known as the Michigan Triangle. Then, of course, they list Stonehenge. A lot of people know about Stonehenge. And then there's an ancient Sumerian stargate at the Euphrates River. Again, we run into a river. This is a famous Sumerian seal that shows a Sumerian god appearing from a portal of this world into ours. The god appears to be on a staircase that is moving away from the person viewing the seal. On each side of the emerging god, there are strange shimmering columns of water. Of course, water. Another Sumerian artifact that claims to show evidence of stargates is that of Ninurta. Ninurta not only appears to be wearing a modern-day wristwatch, but also using his finger to press what appears to be a button on the wall of the gateway he's standing in. So the god that's standing in this thing has a wristwatch on, which is kind of cool. That's way cool. There's a place, Tahanaca, Bolivia. They have something called the Gate of the Sun that they think is a portal. Also, there's a Stargate in Sri Lanka. I think this is Russian, yeah. And I don't understand, but it says carved on a massive piece of stone wall, mostly hidden between boulders in the cave systems of Ranmasa Uwana. I totally messed that up and I don't care. Is what is believed to be the star map or star chart, which we all come in with star maps and star charts on our hands, so that's interesting. The symbols carved on the rock are said to be a code that opens the stargate and allows the opener or traveler from this world to other areas of the universe. So I thought that was kind of cool. And last but again, Egypt. There's a lot of places in Egypt. Turkey, there's Göbekli Tepe, regarded as the oldest stone temple in the world. I am totally messing up these names, but you guys know me and you know I don't care. You can go look it up. It's Göbekli. It features several rings of huge T-shaped stone pillars, and they're engraved with carvings of an animal such as a lion or a sheep. And two of the pillars sit in the middle of these circles, almost creating an archway of sorts. So crazy, these archways, right? Like the archway within these circles are said to be remains of portals or stargates, which the ancient people who reside here use the word to describe the portal as sky world, which I thought were cool. The T columns are very similar to the Peru we just talked about, Gates of the Gods. Interestingly, the Inca people spoke of a connection to the people from Pleiades star system also. So you guys, there's got to be some sort of this has got to be. Number one, the number one vortex or doorway to the gods is Sedona. Now, I kind of talked about Sedona, but I did not. I felt a different energy. I did feel a vortex. I didn't have any. I've never experienced anything with portals, but there is. Sedona is a pretty cool place, but just know it, and it does have a different energy. Every place has a different energy. Just like Island Park calms me, Sedona just amplifies what I'm already feeling, and the Chichen Itza gave me kind of a bad, like a scary feeling, like a lot of fear that I could have been picking up from the other, the residual energy that was there. And so it's just you yourself. Sedona might be amazing for you. The one that was amazing for me was Druid Arch. So, and it could be that I had different experiences in these places in different past lives. You never know why the energy is different, but the energy is different at these places. And so, and usually more people than not feel it, and that's why they're considered. Now, if you do have one of these portals in your home, like in the hallway, if you think, here's signs of a spirit portal in your house, okay? The most obvious indication of a spirit portal is a lot of spirit activity in a certain location. So if you have a lot of shadows in your hallway, or if you feel like, I do have, like, one of my clients said that her closet in her house, there's a lot of stuff in there. If you notice apparitions, unexplained noises, or items moving about in a particular part of the house, there's a good chance that there's a spirit portal that's formed there. So you just need to, this says, hold a pendulum in the location of your suspected portal and see if it begins to move in a circular motion. This is a good indication that it's a portal. You may also notice increased activity surrounding certain individuals. It says people can be portals, but they're also known as channels. Mostly, they're not really portals. So the way that you can close a portal, it also tells you how to open a portal, but I wouldn't really mess with that. That's just me. But it says here too, it's best to work with assistance of an experienced psychic or medium. So that's pretty funny. Now, protecting portals. So to close a portal, you kind of picture where the portal is, or you see where the portal is, and you kind of do this thing where there's lots of different ways. Just remember, it's about intention. There's no right or wrong way. There's no perfect words. There's no, just like with spells, it doesn't have to be completely perfect. It just is what your intention is. And you can imagine white light going through the tunnel and gold light coming out. That's kind of how you clear the tunnel, or you only let good things come in and out. But this is like sage. It's not like a one and done thing. You have to continually do this. And also too, or you can just close it. You can imagine white light going up through the portal, and then you close the portal down. And again, this also might be like sage. It's not like it's a one and done kind of thing. So that's how you close a portal. If you think you have one in your house, I would do more research on that. You can have an experienced psychic medium or paranormal person come in and close a portal for you, or you can just try and do it yourself. I would use lots of sage. I would maybe do Palo Santos, and then I would imagine, you could even write a little thing, a little ceremony thing, and light a candle, and then imagine the portal being closed and say, thank you for that energy, but you don't need it and you would prefer it to be gone. You can write a little some people ceremony spell or whatever you want to do, or just words that your intention, like a prayer. They're just the same thing. It's a prayer. Some people just pray in rhyme and some people don't. So it's kind of the same thing. So that's what I would do to close the portal. So I hope that you guys liked this. I love anything paranormal. I do. I love it. I don't like scary, freaky stuff, but I have decided that I am protected and I am guided, and I need to know, just like on earth, there's good and bad. Just like in spirits, there's good and bad. Just like the astral realm, it's good and bad. Just like our own selves, there's shadow and light. And sometimes there are things that you need to embrace. And my job as a psychic medium is to figure this stuff out, communicate with other realms or communicate with the spirit world. And whether that is good or bad, then I just need to learn this stuff, and I need to know. So I'm going to start spreading my wings and start doing both of these things. But like I said, in my, if it has any kind of bad feeling or any kind of dynamic or, then demonic kind of feeling, then I'm out. I don't play with that stuff. It's not fun for me, but I've got to continue to grow. Not only do you have to look at the shadow within you, you have to, for your job, you have to take the good and the bad with it, right? So I am such a science person, and I want some of these questions answered scientifically and spiritually. I want to be able to combine them. So I want to figure it out. So anyways, I love you guys so much, and I truly, truly mean it. So, I know that I couldn't do this work without you, and I know there's so many out there that want me to do different things, and I promise I'm working on different classes. There's just so many things to do, and it's hard to focus on just one. And so, but I am back this fall, gonna go head all in and do all the things, and you guys are gonna be able to follow that and experience that with me. I'm really gonna try and show up on social media more for you. I really promise. I know I say that all the time. I just need to get out of my shell as far as that goes. So opening up new venues for me. So I love you guys so much. I will see you honestly next, I don't think next week, but the week after. And then in September, I'll start doing it every single week. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for everything that you do for me. Thank you for listening. Thank you for showing up. And I promise I'm doing the best to bring you what you want. So remember, believe what you want to believe, and be kind to others who believe differently. And I will talk to you guys later.